Welcome to Coins News Daily. Stop scrolling. Police car light. Your old Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny might secretly be worth more than a brand new car. Some rare United States wheat pennies have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and most people don't even realize they own one. In this video, we'll uncover the most valuable rare Lincoln Wheat pennies you should check right now in your pocket, jar, or coin collection. Stay until the end, because one of these coins could make you rich overnight. Dollar banknote. Subscribe, like, and comment below if you love rare coins. Thanks with love for watching. Top 1. Today we are diving into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, a small copper treasure that hides big value and even bigger stories. Imagine holding a tiny 1-cent coin in your hand, something most people would ignore, but collectors would chase for years. Yes, today we are talking about the 1942 D mint mark Lincoln Wheat Penny, a coin that may look ordinary at first glance, but under the right conditions, can be worth serious money. Close your eyes for a moment and travel back to the year 1942. The world was in the middle of World War II. Metal was critical for the war effort. Copper was needed for ammunition and military equipment. Every single cent mattered. That's why the United States Mint would soon change the composition of the penny in 1943 to steel. But in 1942, the Lincoln Wheat cent was still struck in bronze, and the Denver Mint produced millions of them. Yet among those millions, certain examples became incredibly valuable. The 1942 D Wheat Penny was minted at the Denver Mint, which you can identify by the small D mint mark below the date on the obverse side. On the front, you see the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. On the back, two elegant wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent and United States of America. This classic wheat reverse was used from 1909 to 1958, and it remains one of the most beloved designs in American coin history. Now here's where it gets interesting. Not all 1942 D pennies are valuable. In fact, most are still worth only a few cents in circulated condition. But condition, rarity, and errors can transform this humble coin into a collector's dream. Let's talk about mint state condition. A 1942 D penny that has never been circulated, with full original mint luster, sharp details in Lincoln's hair, and no major marks, can command strong premiums. Collectors look closely at the cheek of Lincoln and the fields around him. Any scratches or dullness can reduce value. But a high-grade example, especially graded mint state 65 or higher by professional grading services, becomes far more desirable. Color also plays a huge role. Copper coins are graded as brown, or red. A full red 1942 D penny, meaning it still has most of its original bright copper color, is much rarer than a brown example. Over time, copper naturally darkens. Finding a coin from 1942 that still shines with original red brilliance is not easy. That is why collectors pay a premium for red examples, but wait, it gets even more exciting. The real treasures come from mint errors and varieties. One of the most talked about varieties is the 1942 D over D repunched mint mark. In this case, the D mint mark was punched into the die more than once, slightly misaligned. Under magnification, you can see a shadow or doubling effect around the mint mark. This small detail can dramatically increase the value of the coin. There are also double die varieties. These occur when the die itself was misaligned during production, causing parts of the design to appear doubled. On some 1942 pennies, you may notice doubling in the date or lettering. These are rare and highly sought after. Collectors study coins under magnifying glasses, searching for tiny differences that can mean the difference between a common penny and a valuable rarity. Another factor that increases desirability is strike quality. The Denver Mint sometimes produced coins with slightly weaker strikes. A sharply struck 1942 D penny with strong details in the wheat stalks and Lincoln's hair stands out among average examples. Collectors appreciate sharpness and eye appeal. Now imagine discovering one of these coins in an old jar, inherited from a grandparent. Many people overlook wheat pennies, thinking they are all the same. But inside those jars could be hidden gems. The thrill of searching through rolls of old coins, checking dates and mint marks, is something coin lovers understand deeply. Every coin tells a story. The 1942 D penny also represents a turning point in American history. The very next year, in 1943, the mint switched to zinc-coated steel cents to save copper for the war. That makes 1942 one of the last full bronze years before the famous steel cent experiment. Holding a 1942 D penny is like holding the last chapter of an era before dramatic change. Collectors also look for original surfaces. Cleaning a coin can destroy its value. Many beginners make the mistake of polishing old pennies to make them shine. But serious collectors want originality. A natural patina, even if brown, is preferred over a clean shiny surface. If you ever find a 1942 D penny that looks promising, never clean it. Leave it exactly as it is. Let's talk numbers, because that's what everyone is curious about. In circulated condition, most 1942 D Lincoln Wheat Pennies trade for only a small premium above face value. In uncirculated mint state condition, especially with strong red color, values increase significantly. High-grade certified examples have sold at auction for hundreds of dollars. Exceptional gem red specimens graded at the very top of the scale have reached over $1,000 in major auctions. The repunched mint mark variety in high grade can also bring several $100s depending on condition and eye appeal. Think about that for a moment. A coin originally worth 1 cent, now potentially worth hundreds or even over $1,000 simply because of preservation, rarity, and small minting differences. That is the magic of coin collecting. If you are a collector, this is your reminder to check every wheat penny carefully. Look for the 1942 date. Check for the D mint mark. Examine it under magnification. Study the mint mark for repunching. Observe the color. Notice the sharpness of the strike. And most importantly, appreciate the history in your hand. Coin collecting is not just about money. It is about discovery, history, patience, and passion. The 1942 D Lincoln Wheat Penny may not be the rarest coin in American history, but it carries the spirit of a nation at war, a changing mint system, and the dedication of collectors who see value where others see only a penny. So next time you see a small copper coin dated 1942 with a tiny D under the date, do not ignore it. Take a closer look. It might just be the beginning of your journey into the fascinating world of rare coins. And who knows, that little 1-cent piece could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Top 2. We are diving into a coin that many people overlook, a coin that hides in old jars, piggy banks, and forgotten drawers across America. Yet this small copper piece carries history, mystery, and serious collector interest. I'm talking about the United States of America Lincoln Wheat Penny 1946 with no mint mark. Imagine holding a coin that was struck just after World War II ended. Soldiers were returning home. The economy was shifting from wartime production to peace. Factories that once made ammunition were now producing cars and household goods again. And in the middle of this historic transition, millions of 1946 Lincoln Wheat Pennies were minted and released into circulation. The 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny features the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the front. This design was created by Victor David Brenner and first introduced in 1909. On the reverse, you'll see 2 wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. That wheat design gives this series its popular nickname, the Wheat Penny. Now let's focus on the detail that confuses many beginners. No mint mark. When you see a 1946 penny with no mint mark below the date, that means it was minted in Philadelphia. In 1946, the Philadelphia Mint did not use a mint mark. So no mint mark is not a mistake. It is standard for that location. In 1946, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 991 million Lincoln Wheat Pennies. That is a massive number. Because of that large mintage, most 1946 no mint mark pennies are considered common coins in circulated condition. But here is where things get interesting. Condition and errors can transform an ordinary coin into a highly valuable collectible. Let's talk about condition first. Most 1946 pennies you find today will show heavy wear. You'll see smooth surfaces, faded wheat lines, and Lincoln's hair details worn down. In average circulated condition, the real market value of a 1946 no-mint mark wheat penny is usually between 10 cents and 50 cents. Yes, that may not sound exciting, but remember, value rises dramatically with quality. In extremely fine condition, where you can still see clear wheat lines and strong details in Lincoln's hair and coat, the real market value ranges from around $1 to $3. In uncirculated condition, meaning the coin was never used in everyday transactions and still has its original mint luster, prices increase significantly. A bright red uncirculated 1946 no-mint mark wheat penny can sell in today's market for $20 to $60 depending on grade. And when we move into professionally graded coins in high mint state levels such as MS-66 or MS-67, auction records show prices reaching several $100s. In rare top population examples with exceptional red color and flawless surfaces, auction values have exceeded $1,000, but condition alone is not the only factor that makes this coin exciting. Errors and varieties are where collectors truly pay attention. One of the most popular and valuable errors for the 1946 wheat penny is the double die error. A true double die occurs during the hubbing process when the design is impressed onto the die more than once at slightly different angles. This results in noticeable doubling on letters and numbers. On a 1946 double die penny, collectors look carefully at the date and inscriptions such as "In God We Trust" and "Liberty." If you find strong, clear doubling visible without magnification, you could be holding a coin worth serious money. Depending on the strength of the doubling and overall condition, real market prices for a 1946 double die penny can range from $100 to over $1,000. At major auctions, exceptional high-grade examples have sold for several $1,000s. Another fascinating error is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank was not properly aligned during striking. Part of the design may be missing, and you might see a blank crescent shape along the edge. The value depends on how dramatic the off-center strike is and whether the date is still visible. A 1946 wheat penny with a dramatic off-center strike and full date can sell from $50 to $500 or more. Then there are clipped planchets. These occur when the metal strip used to punch coin blanks overlaps, resulting in a curved missing section. Authentic clipped planchet errors on a 1946 penny can bring between $30 and $200 depending on size and condition. Collectors also search for repunched mint marks on other years, but since the Philadelphia 1946 penny has no mint mark, attention shifts to die cracks, lamination errors, and strike-through errors. A bold die crack running across Lincoln's portrait can add premium value. Lamination errors, where the metal surface peels or splits due to impurities in the alloy, can also command strong collector demand. These pieces often sell from $40 to several $100s depending on eye appeal. Now let's talk about color designation, which is extremely important for wheat pennies. When graded by professional services, copper coins are labeled as brown, or red. Red coins retain most of their original mint color. These are the most valuable. A 1946 no-mint mark penny graded MS-67 red by a top grading company has reached auction prices of over $2,000 because of its exceptional preservation and rarity in that high grade. Think about that for a moment. A coin originally worth 1 cent, now valued in the thousands simply because it survived decades without losing its brilliance. So what makes the 1946 no-mint mark wheat penny truly special for collectors? It represents the first full year of peacetime coinage after the war. It marks a return to normal copper composition after the famous 1943 steel cents. It connects directly to a powerful era in American history. And most importantly, it is still possible to find one in circulation or old collections. If you are searching through rolls or inherited jars of coins, examine every 1946 penny carefully. Look for sharp details. Check for unusual doubling. Inspect the edges for clips. Tilt the coin under light to see if original red luster shines through. Small differences can mean big value. Coin collecting is not just about money. It is about history, patience, and discovery. The thrill of spotting a rare error, the excitement of sending a coin for grading, the anticipation of auction results. Every wheat penny tells a story, and the 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny with no mint mark reminds us that even the most common coins can hide extraordinary potential. From a simple 10-cent circulated piece to a $1,000 auction treasure, its value depends on condition, rarity, and keen observation. So before you spend that old penny or toss it aside, take a closer look. You might just be holding a small copper time capsule from 1946, a year of hope, rebuilding, and new beginnings in America. Stay curious. Keep searching. And who knows, your next rare coin discovery could already be waiting in your pocket. Top 3. We are diving deep into one of the most talked about wheat pennies in American coin collecting history, the legendary 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny. And trust me, coin lovers, you are going to want to listen very carefully, because this small copper coin might completely change the way you look at your pocket change forever. First, let's travel back in time to the year 1950. The United States was entering a new decade. The world was recovering from World War II, the Korean War was beginning, and America was stepping into a modern era. During that time, the U.S. Mint continued producing the iconic Lincoln Wheat Penny design that had been introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln. This coin features the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front, designed by Victor David Brenner. On the back, you see the two classic wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. This wheat design was produced from 1909 until 1958, making it one of the longest-running and most beloved designs in American coin history. Now let's focus on the star of today's story, the 1950 penny with the D Mint mark. The D Mint mark means this coin was struck at the Denver Mint. In 1950, the Denver Mint produced over 300 million Lincoln Wheat Pennies. That number might sound huge. And yes, in circulated condition, most 1950 D pennies are very common, but here is where things get interesting. While millions were made, finding one in pristine, untouched, high-grade condition is an entirely different story. Most of these pennies went straight into circulation. They were used in stores, banks, vending machines, and everyday transactions. They were scratched, worn down, and damaged over time. Very few survived in mint state condition, and this is where collectors start paying serious attention. A 1950 D Lincoln Wheat Penny in average circulated condition is usually worth only a small premium over face value. But when you step into higher grades, especially uncirculated examples with strong luster, sharp strike, and no visible wear, the value rises dramatically. Now let's talk about rarity in the way collectors truly understand it. Rarity is not always about how many coins were made. It is about how many survive in top condition today. High-grade 1950 D pennies, especially those graded MS-66 or higher, are much scarcer than people expect. Coins graded MS-67 with beautiful red color are extremely difficult to find. When you see a wheat penny that still has its original bright red mint luster after more than 70 years, that is something special. Color plays a major role in value. Collectors classify copper pennies into 3 main color categories: brown, and red. Brown coins have darkened over time. Red-brown coins show a mix of original mint red and natural toning. Fully red coins retain most of their original copper brilliance. A fully red 1950 D penny in high mint state can be dramatically more valuable than a brown example in the same numeric grade, but we are not done yet. Let's talk about errors, because this is where excitement truly begins. Mint errors can turn an ordinary coin into a collector's treasure. On the 1950 D Lincoln Wheat Penny, collectors search for several types of valuable errors. One of the most popular is the repunched mint mark. In the past, mint marks were punched into the dies by hand. Sometimes the mint worker would punch the D mint mark more than once, slightly misaligned. This creates a visible doubling or shifting effect on the mint mark. Under magnification, you can see the secondary impression. Another error to look for is die cracks. These appear as raised lines on the coin's surface caused by cracks in the die used to strike the coin. Some collectors love dramatic die cracks because they give the coin character and uniqueness. Off-center strikes are also highly collectible. If the blank planchet was not perfectly centered during striking, part of the design may be missing. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin can become, especially if the date is still visible. There are also double die varieties. While major double dies are rare for 1950D, minor doubling can sometimes be found on lettering or numbers. Always check the date, the word Liberty, and the motto In God We Trust under magnification. And here is something very important for coin lovers watching this video: condition is king. A heavily worn penny with scratches and damage will not bring premium prices. But a sharply struck coin with smooth surfaces, minimal marks, and glowing original luster can command impressive auction results. Serious collectors often submit their coins to professional grading services. Once authenticated and graded, the coin is sealed in a protective holder. This gives buyers confidence and can significantly increase value. Now let's talk about why the 1950D penny remains so attractive to collectors today. First, it belongs to the beloved wheat cent series. Many collectors aim to complete a full set from 1909 to 1958. The 1950D is an essential part of that collection. Second, it represents the final decade of the wheat penny design before it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial Reverse in 1959. Third, it offers an exciting opportunity. Because so many were produced, many people still search rolls of pennies hoping to find a high-grade survivor or an error variety. The thrill of the hunt keeps collectors engaged. Imagine opening a jar of old coins from your grandparents and spotting a shiny 1950D wheat penny inside. That moment of discovery is what makes coin collecting magical. Let's now discuss real market prices and auction values. In circulated condition, a typical 1950D Lincoln Wheat Penny is worth around $3 to $10 depending on where and I appeal. In uncirculated mint state grades such as MS63 or MS64. Values usually range between $20 and $60 depending on color. In higher grades such as MS65 red, the coin can sell for around $100 to $200. In extremely high grades like MS66 red, auction prices have reached around $400 to $800 depending on demand and I appeal. In rare cases, superb gem examples graded MS67 red have sold at auction for over $2,000. And special error varieties, depending on the type and condition, can bring anywhere from $100 to several $1,000s at auction. That is the power of condition, rarity, and collector demand. So next time you see a small copper penny dated 1950 with a tiny D below the date, do not ignore it. Examine it carefully. Look at the color. Check the strike. Search for errors. Because in the world of coin collecting, knowledge is money, the 1950D Lincoln Wheat Penny proves that even the most ordinary-looking coin can hold extraordinary potential. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of America's fascinating wheat pennies, make sure to continue your treasure hunt. Check your change. Search old coin rolls. Visit estate sales. Because your next valuable discovery could be hiding in plain sight. And remember, coin collecting is not just about money. It is about history, art, and the excitement of holding a piece of the past in your hands. Stay curious, stay passionate, and keep collecting.